Hi everyone, I'm Courtney Moskell, a registered dietitian and corporate well-being consultant at Welsh Duffield. Regardless of whether you're working in an office or working remotely, people tend to struggle with finding the time to eat healthy when crunched for time. With just a little bit of preparation and planning, you'll have the tools to make healthy and easy meals for you and your family. Let's begin by discussing what our goals are for healthy eating on the go. For starters, the convenience factor is huge. It must be quick and easy to grab, either first thing in the morning, between meetings or activities, or when walking in the door after work and everyone's starving and you want to put something easy yet healthy on the table for everyone. One of the biggest obstacles to healthy eating is a lack of time, which is what discourages many people from making the leap to eat much more healthfully. Because fast food and junk food appears to be much more readily available than healthy options, many people simply succumb to the temptation and eat poorly during their busy lives. We'll teach you the ways to shift that mindset and give you a few ideas and easy meals and snacks that you can incorporate into the busiest of schedules. Everyone watching this presentation likely is coming in with different objectives. Some people are looking to eat better in order to manage or maintain their weight. Others want to cut down on their spending from dining out. Some are looking to become more efficient when cooking for themselves or their family, and others might want some tips to help with their kids who might be spending more time at home these days. So we'll make sure to have many takeaways for everyone. I'm sure most of you have seen this image on the left called the My Plate method. As you can see, it's a plate divided into 4 sections with a cup or a bowl to the top right of the plate. It includes all the same food groups that the old food pyramid had, your fruits, vegetables, protein, grains, and dairy. But instead of thinking in terms of cups and ounces at every meal, which is really confusing, the idea of My Plate is pretty simple. We want to be able to tell with just a quick glance at your plate, is this a healthy meal? There are 4 simple guidelines. Make half of your plate fruits and veggies. We're still not eating enough fruits and vegetables, but by filling up half of your plate, you'll know you're getting enough. Make half of your grains whole. Grains should take up about a quarter of your plate and should be whole grains as frequently as possible. So let's start with this. What are whole grains? Whole grains contain the entire seed of a plant. All grains start life as a whole grain and is made up of 3 edible parts: the bran, the germ, and the endosperm. On the other hand, refined grain is the term used to refer to grains that are not whole because they're missing one or more of their 3 key parts. White flour and white rice are refined grains, for example, because both have had their bran and their germ removed. Refining a grain removes about 25% of the protein in a grain and about 50 to 75% of other nutrients. So why would these grains be refined? It's basically done through a cheap process, and refined grains can live on the grocery store shelves for a long time. In response to deficiency diseases when refining became commonplace, many governments required refined grains to be enriched. So you've probably seen this word proudly displayed on some of the products at the store. Although enriched is better than refined grains, enrichment only adds back fewer than half of the dozen of the missing nutrients. Vary your protein. Protein should take up the last quarter of your plate and shouldn't be the same all the time. We'll spend a bit more time on protein in a few minutes. Choose low-fat dairy. Dairy is represented by the cup or the bowl at the top of the plate. That could be a cup of milk or yogurt or a small bowl of cottage cheese. The visual on the right shows you 9 different examples of the recommended daily fruit and veggie intake. Hopefully this puts things into perspective. It's very attainable, but it has to be something that you're willing to focus on. We get asked regularly, what's the difference between whole wheat and whole grain? Our answer is another question. What's the difference between a carrot and a vegetable? Everyone knows that all carrots are vegetables, but not all vegetables are carrots. It's similar with whole wheat and whole grains. Whole wheat is one kind of whole grain, so all whole wheat is whole grain, but not all whole grains are whole wheat. When you're at the store trying to buy whole grain items, look at the chart on this slide. If the ingredients say whole plus the name of the grain or name of the flour, then yes, it's a whole grain. As you can see on the bottom of the chart, enriched flour or words like degerminated, those are key for not whole grain. When adding healthy carbohydrates to your eating plan, try some new things. Have you tried quinoa in place of rice in your burrito bowls? Or what about adding some farro or barley to your favorite salads? These sides are so easy to make, and you can make it in bulk to use throughout the week. For many of these grains, you just add a liquid of your choice, so either water or broth, and add the grains. You would add about 2 cups of liquid for every 1 cup of dry grains. Bring the liquid to a boil and then cover the pan and reduce the heat to medium-low so the liquid simmers. You can fluff with a fork and you're done. As for beans, these are very economical and a healthy source of protein. For dried beans, the first step is to soak your beans overnight. Put your beans in a pot and cover them with a few inches of water. Throw the whole thing in the fridge overnight, and then when mealtime rolls around the next day, grab those beans from the fridge, drain them, and transfer them to another pot, and then cover them in a few inches of water. Bring them to a simmer, and then after another 30 minutes or so, once your beans are tender, turn off the heat and season the cooking liquid to taste. If you're planning on packing them up and storing them for later use, just let them cool completely beforehand. Now you're ready to use them for chili, salads, or for a great side with chicken or fish. Throw them in a Tupperware in the fridge for dinner every night that week, or freeze them for future use. Beans actually do freeze very well. Another way to sneak in some healthy carbs is to choose whole fruit rather than juice. I know you've heard this a million times, but it's definitely worth repeating. Taking orange juice, for example, some OJ is not 100% juice. It might contain high fructose corn syrup, artificial flavors and colors, and a whole lot of added sugar. The juice, especially the one without pulp, doesn't have the same levels of fiber, phytochemicals, and antioxidants as whole fruit. Just grab the whole fruit instead, or you can always add fruit to water for a drink without all that added sugar. Trying to vary your protein is important so you're getting an assortment of nutrients. When you choose meat or poultry, pick lean or low-fat options. Choose lean beef or pork, skinless chicken, or ground turkey breast. Meat and poultry do contain saturated fats, which aren't good for our hearts. Choosing lean or low-fat options reduces the amount of saturated fats that we're eating. In general, try to eat smaller portions of meat and poultry. Although contrary to popular belief, most of us actually eat more protein than we need. Choosing seafood as your protein at least twice a week can help to improve our omega-3 levels and reduce our risk for cardiovascular disease. It's typically lower in calories as well, so it's great for weight management. Just a simple shift in your eating pattern can put you on a positive path to improve your heart health. Eggs are another great source of protein. They're healthy, they're easy to whip up, and they're cheap. Eggs have gotten a bad rap because they're relatively high in cholesterol, but that doesn't necessarily directly affect one's blood cholesterol. Eggs contain no trans fat and a very small amount of saturated fat, making them a great source of protein for healthy people. People with diabetes and heart disease, however, are still cautioned to limit their egg intake. Additionally, along with being a good source of protein and vitamins A and D, eggs are high in choline, a nutrient that's vital for brain development, and it's really hard to come by in other foods. Two important minerals, calcium and zinc, are also plentiful in eggs. Calcium is necessary for healthy teeth and bones and may reduce the risk of bone loss as we age. Zinc is critical for a healthy metabolism, immune system, and cell function, among its many other powerful benefits. The type of eggs you eat also plays a key role. Whether they're white or brown isn't so important, but I do recommend pasteurized farm eggs, since they have an even better nutrient profile than factory farmed eggs. However, they're often hard to come by in grocery stores. In that case, try omega-3 eggs. So when you have the choice of the whole egg or just the egg whites, eat the whole egg. The yolk contains some of the most powerful nutrients and antioxidants. Another way that you can vary your protein is to incorporate nuts, seeds, and soy into your day. Nuts and seeds can be eaten as snacks, and soy is a great alternative to meat in many dishes. You can see that these protein sources really can pack a punch even in a single serving. Many people tell me the need to eat more protein each day. Although for some, there could be some truth to this, but for many, it's shifting to the best types of protein that should be the goal. To get a rough estimate of how much protein you should be consuming each day, it should be around 25% of your total calories. However, there are vastly different opinions on how much protein people actually need. Most official nutrition organizations recommend a fairly modest protein intake. The DRI, or the dietary reference intake, is 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, or 0.36 grams per pound. This amounts to about 56 grams per day for the average sedentary man and 46 grams per day for the average sedentary woman. Though this meager amount may be enough to prevent deficiency, studies show that it's far from sufficient to ensure optimal health and body composition. It turns out that the right amount of protein for any one individual depends on many factors, including their activity level, their age, muscle mass, physique goals, and current state of health. Over the last several years, we've shifted away from specific percentages of protein, fats, and carbs, and instead emphasized the importance of eating healthier protein-rich foods. Before you start ramping up your daily protein intake, there are a few important things to consider. For one, don't read "get more protein" as "eat more meat." Beef, poultry, and pork, as well as milk, cheese, and eggs, can certainly provide high-quality protein, but so can many plant foods, including whole grains, beans, and other legumes, nuts and veggies, which we've discussed. The table shown here shows the protein content of some common sources of protein, including cheese and eggs, but also look at the high protein content of a serving of salmon. It accounts for almost a third of your daily protein recommendations for a lot of people. Also, lentils have a lot going for them. They're highly nutritious, they're inexpensive, environmentally friendly, and come in a range of colors and textures. All that, and they can be truly delicious if you know how to cook them properly. Lentils are one of my favorite plant-based sources of protein, right up there with their legume cousins, black beans and chickpeas. The beauty of lentils is that they don't take long to cook. It's about 20 minutes or so. If you're trying to eat better, just add more lentils. They're great in salads, soups, side dishes, and even with pasta. Lentils continue to soak up nearby flavors as they rest, so typically make great leftovers. There's about 8 grams of protein in just a half a cup of serving of lentils. Greek yogurt is an excellent, versatile, protein-rich dairy product that's easy to eat any time of day. You can enjoy it with fresh fruit at breakfast, as a smoothie base for a snack, or even a more savory dinnertime dish as a mayo or sour cream replacement. Because some of the whey, which is the liquid part of milk, it's strained off, Greek yogurt is denser than the regular yogurt and contains more protein and less sugar. With less lactose, which is milk sugar, Greek yogurt is usually better tolerated by those with lactose intolerance. With so many Greek yogurt products on the market, sweetened, plain, full fat, non-fat, 2%, it can be a challenge to pick the best option. Some flavored yogurts have as much sugar as a can of Coke. Instead, buy plain, unsweetened yogurt and flavor it yourself with fresh fruit. You can add in some nuts or seeds to give it a little crunch too. You can see on the nutrition labels on the screen, look at the sugar content. You'll see a total sugars row, but what we really want to pay close attention to are those added sugars. You'll see that there's 0 grams of added sugar, which is great. In terms of sugar intake, we want to try to stay below 36 grams per day for men and below 25 grams of sugar for women. Now that the nutrition facts have been updated to include this added sugar line, it makes things a lot easier to see when there are hidden sugar additives in the product. Okay, on to meal planning. You really can't expect to be able to eat healthy on the go without a little prep work. It just doesn't magically happen, unfortunately. Make-ahead meals will save you money and time, and you'll be able to keep your eating within your control. So first things first, and you guessed it, make a plan. Decide what you're going to cook ahead of time. Pick all the recipes you want to cook for the week and put together a grocery shopping list. I would suggest that you start with 2 to 3 recipes per week. It's nice to have variety, but it also takes a lot more time to cook different meals, especially if you're just starting out. Starting with those recipes that you've made before helps you to get off to a good start. You can see this weekly meal planner on this slide. You can do a quick Google search for a meal planner document, and there are also millions of apps out there that can help with this process. I like to print out a meal planner and physically write in what we're having each day and at each meal and hang it on the fridge so everyone knows the plan. This makes grocery shopping a lot more efficient too. I just get what's on our list and it cuts down on unnecessary shopping. This works for my family, but something else might work better for you. Go with the process that you think will stick. Next, realize that you can multitask. You can actually bake a chicken while roasting your veggies at the same time. This will really help to get things done much faster. Involving your kids can also help keep things fun. Maybe you're thinking involving the kids is anything but fun, but some find that involving their kids with the meal prep, although it can get messy and might take a bit longer, your kids might start being more adventurous in their eating. Some items that will really help in the meal prep department are freezer bags or glass or plastic containers with lids. The important piece here is that they are see-through, so you can actually see what you have on hand quickly when you open the fridge or the freezer. I'm a big proponent of mason jars. They're very practical, they're cheap, and microwave safe when you have the lid off. The trick I use when bringing salads on the road with me is putting the dressing on the bottom and leave the leaves on the top so nothing gets soggy and my salad remains crispy for hours. Make sure you have your kitchen essentials: knives, cutting boards, measuring cups, sheet pans, and stock pots. These will get you off on the right foot. Once you have your recipes and their ingredients, pick a day that you want to do the meal prep. For some, Sundays seem to work well. You might want something to do while you watch sports on TV or just get your mindset on the week ahead. Choose a day that works for the whole family. Again, we're aiming to make mealtimes less stressful and healthier for everyone. Once you prep your food and pre-package everything, you'll notice how much easier it is to assemble your meals. I like to think of the basics when prepping. I have a protein source of some kind, a grain, and fruits and veggies on hand. I find that having grilled chicken that can last for a couple days is great to have ready to go. It makes dinner time a breeze when paired with some ready-to-go sides or to have on top of a salad. If you're in a rush, you can always buy a pre-made rotisserie chicken, which makes life even easier. Fish, on the other hand, I prefer cooking the fish and consuming it that same day, although it's still safe to eat a couple of days after it's been cooked. Uncooked fish freezes great and can be stored in the freezer for months. Speaking of frozen fish, you can also buy your fish frozen. It's typically less expensive as fresh fish, but still packed with nutrients. The same goes for fruits and vegetables. For many, it's easier to buy frozen fruit or veggies, as the fresh versions might go bad faster than you consume them. Another benefit is that these fruits and vegetables are picked at their peak, they're blanched, and then quickly frozen. This process is called flash frozen, and shockingly enough, might actually retain the nutrients better. Moving on to grains, we talked about lentils already. Some other ideas that fall into this category that are great for make-ahead choices and to make in bulk include couscous, quinoa, and farro. These are great to have for a salad base, to mix in with soup, or alone as the side. They last for a few days in the fridge or to use when you need them. So we've already talked about purchasing frozen fruits and veggies, but let's chat about fresh produce as well. Wash and cut your fresh produce right away. This will really encourage more fruit and veggie consumption when you open the fridge for a snack. Sounds really simple, but eliminating the extra minute or two to wash and cut your produce might deter you from eating it that moment. It's also much easier to throw in some spinach or sweet peppers into your morning eggs, or choose a carrot over a chip when eating your hummus. Buying items in bulk and then doing some prep really will benefit you in terms of money as well as time. The worst feeling is being rushed for time when you're starving and think you have to cook something from scratch. So just a little review of the tactics we discussed. Buy family packs of lean proteins. This will last you a long time and you can use the food at your leisure. You can also opt to buy pre-washed and cut veggies if you know that doing it at home just isn't an option. Another money saver is buying dry beans. They're very easy to cook and you'll have enough to last you for many meals. And lastly, another reminder about buying frozen fruit and veggies to use in your smoothies and your dishes. So let's talk about organic foods. I get so many questions related to when someone should buy organic and when it might be unnecessary. An organization called the Environmental Working Group, which is an organization of scientists, researchers, and policymakers, developed a list of which common produce items have the highest amounts of pesticides and other harmful chemicals. They discovered that by switching to organic produce for the foods listed on the Dirty Dozen list can reduce the amount of toxins you consume on a daily basis by as much as 80%. Americans already consume about 6 to 9 pounds per year of chemicals, and that's not even including what we absorb through the skin. I find that very crazy. In addition to the Dirty Dozen list, the EWG put together another list called the Clean 15. This list is meant to help you, the consumer, know when to buy organic and when it's not necessary. These lists were compiled using data from the United States Department of Agriculture on the amount of pesticide residue found in non-organic fruits and vegetables after they've been washed. So for the produce on the dirty list, you should definitely go organic, and the Clean 15, it's not necessary. We could talk for hours on the topic of organic food, but this is just a great snapshot in terms of produce. So we already discussed an overview of how to cook in bulk and incorporate healthy components to your meals, but let's give you a few examples of healthy and convenient ideas, meal by meal, starting with breakfast. A healthy breakfast is an important source of energy for a busy day. Focus on whole grain cereals and breads, eggs, and fruit. For any meal or snack, always try to pair a carbohydrate with a protein or a fat. This helps to keep our glucose levels nice and consistent. It's when the levels get out of whack when we start to crave certain foods, and it's usually those unhealthy comfort foods. A smoothie is a nice option to really pack in a nutritional punch for an on-the-go breakfast. You can add some frozen fruit, a handful of greens. Personally, I like to use spinach in my smoothies because it blends really well and you really can't taste it. Maybe some peanut butter, some Greek yogurt. So really try to get that plain non-fat Greek yogurt as it's perfect for smoothies. And you can throw in some chia seeds for some extra fiber, protein, and omega-3s. There's definitely endless ideas for smoothies. It doesn't get much easier than grabbing a banana or another fruit on the go. It's quick, easy, and healthy, but keeping a rule of thumb about incorporating a protein or a fat when eating a carb. So here, including some peanut butter or almond butter, it's a perfect addition to help keep you fuller for longer. Another one, overnight oats. This is about as easy as it gets. I use my mason jars for this one too. Pour in your oats, top with your choice of milk, mix in some fruit and possibly flax seeds or chia seeds, and you're done. I make 5 at once so I have enough for the week ahead and plenty to share with the kids. So who out there likes breakfast sandwiches? I guess who doesn't, right? So if you're looking for an alternative to the fast food versions or the frozen ones, usually those pack in about a third of your daily allotment of sodium. So first, grease or spray a coffee mug, add your eggs and milk, season with salt and pepper, add in some hot sauce maybe if you'd like, throw in some spinach leaves or other veggies you have on hand, and just zap in the microwave for 40 seconds. Stir in the edges inward and then microwave again for an additional 20 to 30 seconds until they're cooked. The beauty of this quick and healthy breakfast is there's practically no cleanup. As for lunch, a lot of times we're using up items that we've created for dinner the night before. You can finish off some chili or other soup that you've prepared, utilize those mason jar salads, or make a wrap of leftover salad and include a protein from your bulk cooking at the beginning of the week. Hummus is a great addition to your wrap so you can use in lieu of meat if you'd like to change it up a little. Hummus is a great source of protein and you can buy it pre-made or just use a food processor to make a large batch of it. As you can see, it becomes much more easy to find something healthy in your fridge or freezer once you've done the grocery shopping and prep at the beginning of your week. Everyone's lives are busy, whether or not you're cooking for yourself or a large crew, and sometimes you just don't have the time to do a major food shop and get all that prep done. An easy dinner meal is grabbing a rotisserie chicken and some bagged greens. It's healthy, filling, and a lot cheaper than getting takeout. The chicken might even last you a few more meals if you're not feeding a number of people. Another underestimated meal is a quesadilla. We seem to make these on the regular in my house because my kids actually love them. Choose whole wheat quesadillas, throw in some greens, shredded cheese, avocado, and some protein. We use grilled chicken as our protein most of the time, but beans are another really good source of protein and a great addition to the quesadilla. You can make them on the stove or just in the microwave for a quick meal. You're getting in some veggies, a protein, and healthy grains, so really, really good balance here. Another dish that might seem a little intimidating at first, but it's really quick and easy way to consume some extra vegetables. I love to use my spiralizer, which you can buy on Amazon, Target, Walmart, really a lot of places. And I turn my zucchini or other vegetables into noodles. So people have coined them zoodles, zucchini noodles. It takes just a few minutes to spiralize them, and I put in a little olive oil in a pan and saute them for a few minutes. Top with some turkey meatballs or any other kind of meatball that you like, then add a little sauce and cheese. If you're not totally in love with the zoodle taste, you should try maybe half pasta and half zucchini noodles and go from there. Again, it takes a little bit of prep and planning, but as you can see, you can really create some healthy meals in no time at all. All right, so on to snacks. Same concept goes here with regards to pairing a healthy carb and either a protein or a fat. It keeps all those chemicals more in a fine balance and it helps to keep you fuller for longer. The possibilities are endless, but I listed a few great snacks that are great to take with you on the run. And of course, going back to our mason jars, one of my favorite snacks to bring on the go is put hummus at the bottom of my mason jar and top with veggies. Everything is in one container and you can control your portions really easily. If you feel an energy slump coming on, small snacks are all it takes to give you the energy spike you need as long as it's nutritionally balanced. As we conclude this discussion on healthy eating on the go, let's just remember to start out this journey setting realistic goals. Try to incorporate fruits and veggies at every meal, which gives you tons of fiber. Pair your carbs with a protein or a healthy fat, and prep your foods in advance. Keeping things simple and easy will allow you to stay on track. Be aware of the healthy options around you and that fast food, although it's fast, isn't your only option. As you saw, there are ways to prep a quick meal or snack that's a lot cheaper and a whole lot healthier than the drive-thru. Start with the recipes and snacks that you know and that are easy, and then you can look up new recipes once you get your routine down. And lastly, this is a lifestyle change we're looking for. It's not a quick fix. It might not always seem so easy, but it'll certainly pay off in the long run. Thank you all for tuning in. We really hope you learned a lot today. And if you're looking for more information, please visit our website at walshduffield.com. Thank you and stay well.